So Impact Wrestling is in Kissimmee this weekend, Friday and Saturday. So right up I-95, very easy drive. You can go get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com. They're obviously coming off of a huge pay-per-view last weekend, Hard to Kill. We have Steve Maclin joining us here, who's coming off a victory at Hard to Kill over the weekend. Steve, thanks a lot for joining us this afternoon. Hard-fought win for you. Are you happy with where you stand right now after your win this past weekend?
First of all, thank you for having me. Just Hard to Kill, I thought put Impact again on the map as the wrestling show out there. And another hard fought victory for me. Yes. Another former world champion that I've beaten. And they just keep lining them up and I keep setting them down every time. And what's it going to take for me to get to Josh is the question now.
There's so much wrestling out there these days. When you left WWE and decided to sign with Impact, how did you decide on Impact?
Impact was pretty much the first to come to me, and it just was a good fit for me, I felt, because it is the land of opportunity in Impact Wrestling, and I don't think a lot of people give the credit there. For everybody thinks it's like this land of misfit toys, and it kind of is, but isn't at the same time, where you get this land of misfit toys that turn into gold and really get to show who they are and their characters, their personality. And it really gives us the opportunity, and that's the one thing Impact has given to me and that I've been very appreciative of, is being able to be who I am and show the world kind of who I am. I know sorry.
I was just going to say, I'm always interested. I got pro wrestlers on the show all the time. How's the travel schedule with Impact? Like for folks who are listening to the show right now who maybe are not pro wrestling fans, I love giving an inside look as to just how difficult the travel schedule is for you guys. So how's your travel schedule with Impact?
Honestly, it's a lot easier than it was with my time in WWE of being gone. With being in Orlando, it's kind of nice. Everything's a hub right now from Orlando on flights, which is really good. But the schedule is pretty easy on my end, which is nice with Impact because it allows me to work the independents a lot more too. Obviously, you don't get that opportunity with being with WWE, but now I get to go out and kind of see what's out there, what talent is on the rise, and learning new things from talent, like how pro wrestling has evolved from the independents and always has evolved from the bottom, and it's worked its way to the top, just like it works from the top to bottom. And it's just working and finding new styles and different things that people are doing and how to make matches and entertain the crowds and what actually entertains the crowd now. It's crazy, and how athletic some of the people that are out there.
I actually saw on an ad yesterday, I think, you're appearing at Boca Raton Championship Wrestling, I think, at the end of this month, right?
Yes, Mark Long of Road Rules The Challenge challenged me to a match at Boca Raton Wrestling, and I don't know if it was the smartest decision on his part, but he is part of a show called The Challenge, and maybe this is his idea of getting on TV and putting a challenge in front of him. And what challenge is it with me?
So that's a cool thing, like you said, that you get to participate in you get to take a bunch of independent shows. The wrestling fan, it's such a rabid, passionate fan base. What do you find there's a difference between the wrestling fan that attends the Impact show and that attends these independent shows?
No, I just think wrestling is it's its own culture now. You have your casual fan still that shows up to go just see a wrestling show, or a family bringing their kids out on a night out. But then you have your hardcore wrestling fans. And I myself, I always thought I was a hardcore wrestling fan as a kid growing up, but compared to what some of these fans do and what the merchandise they buy, I'm not even close. With the way that people are collectors and these signings I get to go to and see what they do, it really blows your mind of oh wow, this is a different world. And it's almost the Comic-Con style stuff where you see it at Wrestle Cage, you see it at Mania weekends, and it's it's awesome to have fans like that.
All right, so you said as a kid, as a wrestling fan, what hooked you as a kid?
Ultimate Warrior. When I was a kid, Ultimate Warrior was my guy, and a lot of my friends were Hulk Hogan fans, and I wasn't into all the eating my vitamins and saying my prayers. I don't know. Yeah, Ultimate got me, and then it changed into Brett, and then it went to Stone Cold, and then that was it.
So how did you tell your family you're going to be a pro wrestler?
I actually didn't tell my family at first. I just got out of the Marine Corps. I was going to college in South Jersey when I was moving back in my parents, trying to get back up on my feet. And they were lucky. I was lucky enough for them to help me out by kind of giving me room and board and just kind of getting life together. But one day, a few of my friends that run independents said, check out wrestling. Went up to a school in North Jersey, and I was like, all right, cool. This is something I could do. And I tried to find a school that was closer to me just for my schedule. It's going to school at night. And I found the Monster Factor in Paulsboro, New Jersey. And from there, I went to a seminar on a Sunday, and I was hooked. And I didn't tell anybody in my house that I was going, my mom or my dad. I got back. My dad's like, where you been all day? You've been gone for 12 hours. I was like, well, I'm going to be a pro wrestler. And I don't think they were really on board until my dad came to one of my first independent shows, and he saw me wrestle, and he goes, this is what you want to do, huh? I was like, yes. And he goes, okay. Well, he's like, we'll do it. And that was kind of the end of that conversation. Like, I was 25, and he knew I had something I hooked myself into that I loved.
So how do you experience, like, this past weekend? You're at Hard to Kill. Your parents, they're home watching the pay-per-view live. Like, how does that go down?
Mom doesn't watch. My dad does. Mom doesn't watch, even though she knows what we do is a predicted outcome. But everything we do in between the ropes and outside the ropes, in between bell to bell, is all real. And she hates that I can possibly get hurt, and which any mother, I guess, would be the same way. But my dad loves it, and because I used to go to shows with him growing up.
Yeah.
And there was a Raw we went to one time, and Lita got up. We're on the corner seats on the ramp side at a Raw at the Continental Airlines Arena at that time. Now it's the Izod.
Yeah.
But we're on the ramp side. Lita gets up on top for the Swanton. Of course, her whale tail's coming out from her back for pants of her thong. And my dad just erupts. He's like, yes! And I'm like, this is great. So it's just, I don't know. It's fun to be able to still be I'm a 35-year-old man that still gets to act like a kid every day. And I get to see my dad do the same when I wrestle. So how would it go down? You know, let's say you're eventually in line to face Josh Alexander. And let's say you're going to go over. They're going to put the belt on you. Would you tell your father in advance, hey, make sure you're watching tonight? Like, how would that go down? I keep it very, I still try to believe in kayfabe. I like to suspend disbelief still, even with my family and my friends. Even at Hard to Kill last year, we had friends coming in from, actually all over, from a bunch of my buddies in the Marine Corps. They came out to Hard to Kill, and they all thought like I was going to win and beat Trey, and of course didn't, but they all like thought they were there because they were going to see me win the title. And they're like, why didn't you tell us? I was like, I'm not going to tell you that. That's the fun in all this. Like, I don't want anybody to know. I don't even tell Deanna the finishes sometimes.
Were you able to see your friends from the ring? Did you know where they were seated?
So if you go back on that pay-per-view, yes, I do know where they were seated. One of my friends during Morrissey, Cardona, and who else was in the match? It was the Morrissey, Cardona, and I want to say Moose match, right? Yeah, I think so. The triple threat. One of their legs was thrown into the ring. He was an amputee. Okay. So if you go back on the footage of Hard to Kill of last year, his leg is thrown into the ring, and it's one of the most hilarious things to happen, and it was just funny.
I love the idea that your friends are in the crowd, your friends from the Marine Corps, and they're probably actively cheering. They're hanging on to every false finish because they don't know, the outcome of the match. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and some of them, like, I love when I get to have friends come to shows or family members I've never been to a wrestling show before, and they're like, holy crap.
Yeah. I'm
like, yeah. I was like, it's not like it is on TV. Like, you have to be there live. And it's the same thing here in Florida. We got the New Year's Revolution coming up, and you have to be there live.
Do you get nervous watching Deanna's matches?
No, she's a pro. I love when I have ideas for her matches, just like she does for me. And we'll like give each other ideas, and then we like to see if it was actually implemented in each other's matches, like certain spots and stuff like that. But no, if anything, maybe the ladder fall with her and Chelsea coming down at Bound for Glory. I was a little nervous, but I knew she could do it, and she was afraid to do it. I was like, it's going to be a great moment. Yes, it's going to suck on your body, but people remember that more than the match. So
she's really one of the best in the world.
Oh yeah, that's why I married her.
How did the Impact locker room? How did you guys experience Mickie James winning the championship last weekend?
Oh, it was awesome. Just you can tell the atmosphere. We have a great locker room at Impact. That's the one good thing. It's very family oriented, and everybody pushes to just be better. And nobody's there's like some selfishness, but in a good way, where it's like it's for business sense, and it's nothing like where it's like, oh, I'm going to stab you in the back here. That it's none of that. everything's done properly and it's for a reason and for a story that's going forward. But for Mickey, it was just good to see the camaraderie, everybody back there to celebrate it, even for Jordan too. Like Jordan came back to a standing ovation as well, and for both of them to go out there in the main event and kill it, it was good to see.
I love hearing about, locker room etiquette and that kind of deal when it comes to pro wrestling. Because, I mean, look, I've been watching pro wrestling. I don't know, we're going on 35 years. I'm 41 years old. So I've been watching my entire life. So I also love hearing about the business side and that kind of deal. And we had Bully Ray on the show. That was about a month or month and a half ago. And I love talking about stuff with him where just certain things you got to do, the younger guys in the locker room who just showing respect, the things you got to do. What are some of the things that you learned early on about the way to behave in a pro wrestling locker room, going about things the right way?
All right. Once you get to a new place, you introduce yourself to everybody. Obviously, you shake hands. That's always the old cliche of shake hands with everybody, even if it's somebody you don't know, or it could be somebody's wife or husband or brother or sister you don't know. Oh, excuse me. But I don't know. One of the first bits of etiquette I was given was like put your bag in the corner, find a spot if you're new, and then you just kind of scan the room and see what it is. I don't take a chair unless I see all the old vets have their chairs as well. And that's one of those things I still take to heart. And I can still get dressed on the floor whether I have a chair or not. But you make the room for the guys that have been there the longest. And yeah, I don't know. That's one of those etiquettes. I treat people with respect the way I expect to be treated as well. So that's just how I treat about it.
I love hearing about stuff like that. I feel like because I think the pro wrestling locker room can be a little bit like, in sports, NFL, NBA locker room, MLB locker room, that kind of stuff. But I feel like, today's sports and today's generation of athlete has kind of lost a little bit of that. And it seems like you guys in the pro wrestling world, it's still super important to you guys.
Yeah. And it's something we take to heart. And I think that's probably the last bit of part of the business I think that we can protect no matter what is protecting that locker room on the guys and the girls side. And we try to take care of each other.
When you have free time, will you watch wrestling or do you want to get away from it because it's your career?
I actually woke up this morning, had breakfast watching wrestling. So I put on Mania 17 main event of Austin and Rock just to, I don't know. I just was like, I need something to watch right now. And it's always a good one to put on.
Now, so how did you fall on that? Is it like, you know what? I feel like getting the chills this morning. So I'm going to watch that.
I don't know. Just one of those matches I could always throw on between that, Brett and Owen at Mania 10, Shawn and Jericho at Mania 19. Like there's certain matches I could just watch. And there's always something like little tidbit that I could pick up from it that I still enjoy. And I just also miss that flash photography of that pop that used to come out. Like I know you see it with cell phones now and the lights, but like
it's not the same.
No, it's just that theater like esque of like when Austin would go on the ropes or Rock would throw that arm up, and you just saw those flashes of the cameras going. It's just like, wow, that's a missing element in wrestling right now. But
yep.
Can we go back? No, but are we evolving? Yes.
Wrestling is for a live audience. Okay. The audience really plays such a major role. And it's funny that you gave that example because just this morning, I happen to be going around on my phone and I'm watching some old clips, and I actually watched Steve Austin's return at WrestleMania last year, which was so cool. But you see in the crowd, it's all the phones and it's the lights and it's the cameras flashing when, the last time we saw Stone Cold, everyone's cheering and the arms are and you're jumping up and down. And you're right. We're never going to get back to that. And I really miss that about the pro wrestling crowd.
Yeah, but it's just also another way to get your eyes seen on you in those moments. There's going to be an angle or a certain way that it's shot from a certain view on somebody's phone, maybe that'll be more viral, make something mean more, or see a kid's face in the crowd, or a fully grown 35-year-old man like myself cheering up and down for Stone Cold coming back. So it's like, I don't know. It's evolving the way of the world. That's the first thing people do. Even it's sad that when people get in fights now, the first thing people do around them is go like this because they film it.
Yeah.
But that's another subject. But that's just the way the world is.
Impact Wrestling this Friday and Saturday. It's in Kissimmee, Florida, so right up the road there in Orlando. I told you I went with my son. We went about a month and a half ago when you guys were here in Pembroke Pines. Such a fun show. It's a nice little intimate atmosphere, so every seat's great. You're right up close. It's super affordable. How did the Marine Corps prepare you, if at all? How does it help you do what you do today in pro wrestling?
It helps me in every aspect of my life, not even just in pro wrestling. Keeps me schedulized. I like to wake up early, do my thing. I have a routine. I like to stay in shape. Yeah, the hurry up and wait game is probably the number one thing I always tell people of relation of wrestling and the Marine Corps or military that much. But everything is hurry up and wait. You get to where you need to get to. You do what you need to for a few five to 20-minute segment, and then you go right on to the next show, and then hurry up and wait again. So you wait around all day. So that's probably the number one aspect is hurry up and wait.
I would say that's why you were 2 minutes early for this interview here. You're an on-time guy.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. Finally here, you're wearing your New York Giants shirt. I know you're from the Jersey area, so you're wearing your Giants shirts. How did you decide? Number one, you must be super pleased. I think Brian Daboll, I know the playoffs are not supposed to count, but man, coach of the year, you know? And how do you decide, being a Jersey guy, how did you decide between Giants or Jets growing up?
I grew up 5 minutes from the stadium in Rutherford, New Jersey, and it always said Giants Stadium, and my family was Giants fans, so it was very hard not to. We used to even walk to the games, so it was always fun to go in the parking lot, tailgate, and go into the games all the time. But, God, man, what a year that I did not expect, and I think a lot of people didn't expect from the Giants. And good on friggin' Daniel Jones, man. I loved him since they signed him, and I know people have just been beating that dead horse of just like, oh, he doesn't have it, he doesn't have it. I'm like, no, you had – I was telling my dad this morning actually on the phone. We were talking about the game from the other night with the Vikings, and I was like, it's crazy how he's gone through 3 coaches in 4 years, and you expect him to be successful with constantly changing and in the back of his mind whether he doesn't know the coach is going to be there or not next year. So you see these guys are buying into the system, and it's very similar to wrestling. You have to buy into a system and that good locker room and how everybody works together and everybody's striving for that goal to be the best. And look at the Giants right now as one of the teams that is a Cinderella story overnight with how everything's playing. And I'm looking forward to the Eagles game.
When's the last time you were at a Giants game? I'm sure it's really difficult for your schedule.
Maybe 2013.
Long time.
So it's been a long time. Yeah, I don't know. I'd rather sit at home because a lot of times I was going to games they were losing. I'm like, maybe I'm the guy here making them lose.
I don't know, man. You've experienced a couple of Super Bowls. You know, I'm a few years older than you. I was 5 years old the last time the Dolphins were in a Super Bowl. I obviously don't remember it. They didn't win it. You've experienced Super Bowl wins, man. You haven't had it so bad, you know?
Don't worry. I don't let Deanna's a Patriots fan, so I don't let that up on the 2011, 2012 seasons on her.
That was amazing. I will tell you, that's the one time in my life watching a game. Giants, Patriots. Patriots were undefeated, of course. That is the most I have ever, and being a Dolphins fan, undefeated season, I want the Patriots to lose. That's the most I've ever rooted for a team, the Giants, a team that I am not a fan of, was that day, Giants, Patriots.
Well, it just makes everybody a football fan that day, so.
Yeah, really cool. Really cool. Steve, this was great. I appreciate you hanging out with us, man. Best of luck moving forward with Impact. Thank you.
No, thank you. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, at Steve Maclin, at Steve Maclin Store on Shop Impact Deals, and also on Pro Wrestling Tees, Steve Maclin Store.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. Be safe. Safe travels.
Later.
See ya.